This isn't about parental choice. It's not about school choice, and it certainly isn't about student achievement. It's not about facts at all. If it were about facts, we wouldn't be talking about vouchers. If it were about facts, we already would have passed in the last legislative session every single one of the constituent component bills that are in Senate Bill 40, increasing the basic allotment. Now, later today, the Finance Committee will have a hearing, and they will introduce a $75 increase in the basic allotment. And I'm delighted that it's an increase. $75. That is about 1.25% increase in the basic allotment since the revolutionary legislation that we passed as a legislature in the form of House Bill 3 in 2019. If we were to fund our public education system today at the level that we chose and bragged about funding it in 2019, we would have to put in another $15 billion. We have the money. What better investment could we make? So the idea of a $75 increase, while it's better than nothing, it's barely better than nothing. It is not sufficient. It is not sincere. And instead, we're going to pretend, I'll tell you what, we'll just sprinkle this little voucher fairy dust everywhere, and every kid will have choice, and all the education will come up. That's not true. What we're going to do is increase the basic allotment in proportion to inflation. That's why it would go up to the $7,365, I think, that we mentioned, so that our school districts, with whom all of us have met, would not be running in the red, would not be drawing down their rainy day funds to the point of running out very, very soon. Those are critical things that will help. How about respect for teachers? Giving them paid parental leave. How about stability in funding, basing funding based on enrollment, not in attendance? You know, we could join the other 46 states that do it that way. There are really good elements of this bill that didn't even get a hearing. And the fact that those good, simple, direct, clearly helpful bills did not even get a hearing is evidence of the damage that is caused when you pursue populist ideas that aren't rooted in reality. I mean, that's what populism is. It's policy disconnected from reality. And we're spending all our time talking about these voucher scams and not talking about the things that actually help. And if you look across the country, there is a total of 0 examples of them actually helping student performance. You might find one little district here or there where some numbers went up or down, but overall, there is no serious analysis of a voucher that shows that they do anything other than suck money out of the public school system and transfer them to the private schools. So enough on vouchers. I want to talk about just the whole fact that we're here at all talking about vouchers in a special session. There's only 4 things state government absolutely has to do: education, healthcare, transportation, and safety. We meet 5 months out of every 2 years. You need to get those 4 done. Now, all the details about how we do it, that's the subject of us going back and forth fighting between Democrats and Democrats, Republicans and Republicans, Democrats and Republicans, House and Senate, government. It's fun. We do this every 2 years. And some of the stuff passes and some of the stuff doesn't. And if it doesn't, you've got a 1.5 year interim. When, unlike right now, we're supposed to be at work to really figure out, before we get into the next session, what's going to pass. Maybe it's vouchers. If you guys can't pass vouchers during the regular session for the past 8 years, thankfully, get your act together. Do some research. Find me a study that says they work so that next session, maybe you do pass it. But to call it in a special session, to hold actual education funding hostage to a pet project like this, that's just bad leadership. We shouldn't be here. So there's not a voucher emergency. What we do have is a crisis in public education. Teachers are leaving in droves. They don't get paid enough. They're not respected enough. And then finally, I want to talk about our public schools. We have what are called failing public schools. And everybody knows that every system that we have, every public institution we have, could use improvement. And schools are no exception. And we're all working on things. HB 3, the basic allotment, are all things designed to improve our public schools. But I got an empirical question for everybody. How many of our so-called failing public schools are in affluent neighborhoods? Is it really failing public schools? Or are failing public schools the product of us failing our communities? I leave with that. Let's be clear, we're not negotiating. As my colleague Senator Menendez said, we're not here to offer up an idea in exchange for a voucher program. We're here to show leadership on public schools. And we're not voting for a voucher.